Hello everyone, I'm Keen47, aka Wolfkeen, and welcome to another edition of A Wolf's Word, where you get the word straight from the wolf's mouth. Now today on A Wolf's Word, I'm going to be talking about a game that is, well, a reboot of a classic series from the PS1 era. A game where we play as a female heroine, well, from the PS1 era. I really can't come up with anything to say, so let's get into it. I'm talking about Tomb Raider for the PS3. I know there are other versions, and I really didn't play those versions. But anyways, let's get into it. Now, Tomb Raider is an interesting game for me because I was a huge fan of the Tomb Raider license back in the PS1 era. Back in when Tomb Raider 1 came out, Tomb Raider 2, Tomb Raider 3. Then I fell out of it when Last Revelation, Legends, and Anniversary were being released, and I just stopped playing Tomb Raider altogether. So here we go, a reboot of the Tomb Raider series. Now, what is the story behind this game? Well, the story is we play as a character named Lara Croft, of course, who is an archaeologist, as they say in the story. She and her crew is basically looking for some kind of hints to help them find some, like a tomb of Queen Himiko, if I'm saying it correctly. Laura has the idea of heading straight to the Dragon's Triangle, but there have been mysterious storms going on in the Dragon's Triangle where people have disappeared. When you and your crew set off to the Dragon's Triangle, you end up shipwrecked, and also end up in the middle of a struggle going on between this other group that's also trapped on the island called the Solari. So basically, your job as Lara Croft is to not only save your crew, but to also, stay alive from the Solari and basically survive this ordeal. The idea of this game is it's all about survival now. Lara Croft is not as skilled or experienced like she is in later Tomb Raider games. And to be honest, I like this idea. I like this being a prequel story and, a beginning story. This is a reboot on Lara Croft's beginning. They tried this with Tomb Raider 3, but it didn't really work very well because it was only for one level, basically. So now we actually got a Tomb Raider prequel story, which shows us how did Lara become who she is. How did she become this badass, dual-wielding, heroine who could basically kick people's ass. And I kind of like the idea. You actually see this in the character Lara Croft. She starts weak and inept. You actually, you feel sorry for her at times because she gets thrown around like a rag doll. And boy, does she. She gets thrown around a lot in this game. And you just can't help but feel sorry for her. But you notice her slowly change from a weak, inept survivor to a badass, basically. By the end of the game, she is a complete badass, talking smack to everyone that she sees, basically. Even enemies that she's uncertain about, she's talking smack to. Which is kind of insane to see, her change from weak and inept to a badass. I kind of like that idea. Story-wise, it actually works very well for its advantage, because to be honest, this game does remind me of Uncharted. That's what a lot of people are going to say. This game is Uncharted. That's what people are going to say. But let me be quick to tell everyone that Uncharted came after Tomb Raider. And Tomb Raider basically was the startup for Uncharted. Basically, Uncharted is the male version of Tomb Raider, while Tomb Raider is the normal Tomb Raider. Besides, the two characters are completely different. Nathan Drake to Lara Croft. Maybe I should do a video about that later, but I digress. We're talking about the story. Oh! Well, that sucked. I apologize for that one. I'm sorry for that distraction, but let me talk about the story some more. The story works very well for its advantage, and I like the action feel. I like the action-adventure feel. It feels like a Tomb Raider game, and that's a good thing. The story is good, and I love Lara Croft's development as a character. It definitely works to her advantage. Now, what else is there to talk about? Graphics. Holy sh**, does this game look beautiful. On the PS3 version, this game looks gorgeous. I freaking love it. I heard the PC version looks even more beautiful, but on the PS3 version that I played, this game looks gorgeous. The attention to detail is freaking phenomenal. Like the blood on Lara Croft, the sweat, the rain, the detail in the graphics in the background. Like, I could stare at a sunrise for hours because of how beautiful it is. And the gameplay graphics work very well. Nothing seems to tear in the game, and there doesn't seem to be any low-res graphics. Everything seems to be detailed to a certain extent, and I love it. I love how everything's been closely detailed. It's not like, oh, let's just leave this unres like in Aliens Colonial Marines, but everything is widely detailed, and the graphics in the game look freaking beautiful. This is one of the most visualized games I've seen in a long time. And this came from Square Enix, the same people who made Hitman. And we knew how good the graphics were in Hitman. So it's good to see that they did the same thing for Tomb Raider. So points up for the graphics. What about the music, the audio? It works well. I actually like the music cues. I like the songs that they use. It hypes you up. It makes you ready for adventure. Basically, the music, the audio, the music cues and other stuff like that, it hypes you up for an adventure and pretty much, you know, pumps you full of energy when a firefight happens. When a firefight happens and you hear some of the music playing, you're basically going to be pumped full of energy and ready to fight like a few guys, which is really good. And I love how the music works. It has good symbolism, and it has good timing, which is good in a video game. I want that in a video game, especially when it comes to music. Now, let's get into some of the other stuff. The survival aspect. Brutally honest, I was expecting this to work like Metal Gear Solid 3, because when I played it at New York Comic Con, there was an idea where you would have to hunt deer to basically get food and stuff like that. But after the first time you kill the deer and you get the food, that idea is completely abandoned, which is kind of stupid. Like, you can hunt deer for experience, but it doesn't really give you any kind of bonus besides XP. You find food sources and you find animals that you can kill that you can get food from, but you never use the food. It should have been like Metal Gear Solid 3, where if you killed an animal, you could eat that food to regain stamina. That's what Lara Croft should have had, a stamina meter. So this way, you know, you're not just this perfectly immune person. You actually have to, you know, fill to your other needs. You need to eat in order for you to survive, which would make sense. Like in Metal Gear Solid 3, you had to eat to survive, which made sense. This is why I wish they had this idea in Tomb Raider. So the aspect of survival doesn't really have it there. It's not like, you know, Metal Gear Solid 3. It's not like you can starve to death. It's not like you can freeze to death. And it's not like you can... The only way you could die is from quick time events and getting shot too much or even meleeed. So really the aspect of survival doesn't really work too effectively. So that's what I mean. Like, the aspect of survival doesn't work too effectively, which is what I was hoping would work. Okay, let's get into the main part. The gameplay. Yes. Yes, yes, yes. That's all I need to say. The gameplay in Tomb Raider is by far phenomenal. The way it works is that it has a passive cover system, so you don't need to press a button to go to cover, and you don't need to... it's like Army of Two, basically. Run to the cover, Lara Croft instantly takes cover. You want to aim over it, she'll instantly aim over it and then go back to the cover. This works very effectively because of the fact that, you know, it keeps the screen clear. It keeps your screen clear, you don't have to press unnecessary buttons, and you're able to fluently go from cover to cover to handle your enemies. And let me give props to the enemy AI. The enemy AI is not stupid. They will not just stay in one area and wait for you to kill them. They will actually throw bombs at you like dynamite. They will throw fire bombs at you. They will shoot napalm arrows. They will flank you if given a chance. And sometimes they can even execute you if your health is low enough. So you really have to be careful what you do in a firefight. So staying in one cover is impossible. You have to move if you want to survive. And in most of these firefights, you will be doing that constantly, which is why I like the enemy AI. The weapons they give you in the game, you get 4 weapons: a pistol, a shotgun, an assault rifle, and a bow. In this game, your bow is your bread and butter. There are plenty of opportunities for stealth, and the bow will definitely be your most versatile weapon, being from shooting a guy in the head from long range to shooting fire arrows at a propane tank to save ammo so you can blow it up, to shooting rope arrows to pull down doors or to help you with puzzles, to other stuff like that. The bow works very well, and it's very versatile. It'll be one of the few weapons you'll actually be using and bring it into a firefight. Your pistol's very, well done. It works very effectively, and you can use it in any way you want. The assault rifle's the same way. Well, submachine gun at first. Let me explain this. Within the game, you'll find weapon parts. When you get enough weapon parts, you can upgrade the weapon to something stronger, like a submachine gun to an assault rifle to a commando rifle. Same thing like, a pistol to a tactical pistol, a shotgun to a combat shotgun, like that. Basically, you find these parts by finding salvage. Salvage is what allows you to upgrade your weapons. You can upgrade your weapons in multiple ways, basically giving extended mags, faster sliders, rapid fire, silencers, different ammo types like incendiary rounds for your shotgun, being able to fire faster than normal, having more accuracy, having secondary fire features like the pistol with its 3-burst action. There are multiple choices in this game, and it works very effectively. And the upgrading system is very effective. It basically allows you to upgrade your gun in any way you want. So you can, if you feel like, oh, I need more ammo for my shotgun, there you go. Buy the ammo extender. There you go. Or, oh, I need more power for my pistol. Buy the power up. Buy a power upgrade if they have it. And there you go, more power for your pistol. Oh, I need my bow to fire faster. Buy the reinforced string, and you got a faster firing rate. This works very effectively for what it does. I mean, the upgrading system is very effective, and I love it. However, the skill tree is a little lackluster. The skill tree that you get for lore, basically everything you do will gain lore experience. When you gain enough experience, you get a skill point. With these skill points, you can level it up towards different skills like Brawler, Survivor, and Hunter. These will basically allow you to funnel more XP from, like, killing animals, to funnel more XP from killing bad guys, or being able to pick ammo off of the Solari when you kill them. This is a good idea in theory, but the problem is that you can funnel so much XP that you can max out Lara Croft. Like, you can just max out all the skills. Unlike other games like, say, Borderlands 2, where you can only pick one skill tree, basically, and focus on that skill tree. So, it does feel a bit lackluster. Does it work to an advantage? Yeah, some of the skills do. Being able to have more aggressive melee attacks to being able to survive long falls. So some of it is useful, but it is a bit lackluster, so being brutally honest. Being this game, I have to be honest, the final boss could have been done a little better, but it works very effectively, the final parts of the game. It's very symbolic, it's ambient, it's tense, and there's a lot to go through, so it definitely hypes you up for the final encounter in the final parts of the game. Like I said, I just wish the final boss was a little bit more rewarding. The final boss is just a quick time event, which is kind of stupid. The true final boss, what I call the true final boss, is you really have to whittle him down because he has strong armor that you cannot break. So, I think I would qualify that as the true final boss of the game, because the other boss you fight is just one big quick time event until you can start shooting him, which is kind of stupid. The ending of the game works very effectively because when the game ends, it leaves room for there to be more for Tomb Raider, which is excellent. I love that idea, that it brings out more for Tomb Raider. The side characters could have been done a little better. Some of the side characters don't really appeal to me, like Whitman. I don't really care for him that much. I'm not going to spoil anything, but I don't really care for Whitman that much. Some of the other crew members have their own personality. Jonah, I actually like a lot, and I wish, I got to see him more. He was a nice guy. The guy with the mohawk. I actually liked him. And some of the characters end up getting killed. Hey, no spoilers. There's 8 people. You're in an island deserted. people are going to die. But I'm not going to spoil who dies. But some of the deaths are actually pretty emotional, and you just can't help but say, like, damn. Even though their personalities ain't that great and you don't get to flesh them out that much. If they had more fleshed out characters, these deaths for some of the characters would work more effectively. And this would make me love the characters more, as well as Lara Croft as a character. I mean, the only character that gets a lot of screen time is Sam. I'm not going to spoil why, but she's the only character that gets screen time, and that's the only character I really care about besides Lara Croft. I'm going to be honest, though. This game is brutal. This game is actually tough. And some of the deaths that you go through are pretty insane. From being crushed by a boulder to being impaled through your neck with a branch. Or even being shot to death with arrows. Or even being executed by an enemy. This game has some of the brutalest deaths I've seen. Nothing in the way of Dead Space brutal, but they're pretty brutal, and they make you want to keep Lara alive than not see these death scenes. Uncharted has not had death scenes like this before. This game's death scenes are pretty brutal. I've never seen Nathan Drake get killed so brutally, in my honest opinion. So I've talked about the story and everything. There's only one other thing I could talk about, and that's the multiplayer. Okay, let me be brutally honest. The multiplayer is very functional, and it can work at times. But the multiplayer still feels like a throwaway mode. It isn't very balanced, and it has a couple of issues, including the weapon ideas. Certain groups have certain weapons. Okay, that works. But why would you give one group bow and arrow, and the other group an assault rifle? How does that work? I mean, seriously, how are you expected to beat someone with a bow unless it's a headshot? I mean, you gotta be good with the bow to get a headshot, but give us another weapon at least. Lucky for us, the Solari, who were the ones that used the bow, get other guns. But to start you off with a bow and arrow for the Solari, and then start you off with a submachine gun for the survivors, no. Just no. And the modes are a bit throwaway. You just have 4 game modes, which are basically Team Deathmatch, Domination, Capture the Flag, and I think Elimination. I'm not sure. I didn't get to play that one. I played a lot of the mode, and I can honestly say that it's functional, but it's not really that fun. What this basically proves is that Tomb Raider is well enough able to stand on its own. It's a great game by itself with just the story. If this was just the story, this game would have been an instant sell for me. Because they added this multiplayer, I'm not going to hate the multiplayer. It's functional. Unlike, like Battlefield 3 had a bad story, but a phenomenal multiplayer. The multiplayer in this is not bad, it's just functional. That's the word. It's just functional. So, it's just something you don't really care about. But, all in all, this game is by far one of my favorite games of 2013. I know BioShock Infinite came out, and that's probably going to be Game of the Year, but I haven't played it yet. I'm gonna soon, but I haven't played BioShock Infinite yet. And I've been hearing some amazing things about that game. But this game right now is my favorite game of 2013. This is a great game. It's a great reboot, and I'm glad to see the Lara Croft license come back. I mean, it has everything. It says it right here. A turning point. Experience Lara Croft's intense origin story from a young woman to a hardened survivor. Very true. An all-new raiding experience. Explore a mysterious island filled with environment puzzles, visceral combat, and ancient tombs to discover. Forgot to talk about those. The puzzles in the game are actually very simple, and they're very easy to understand. They have this mode called Instinct, which will give you clues as to how to beat the puzzle. I do wish there was a bit like a Tomb Raider difficulty, where you have no instinct, and the puzzles are changed up to be tougher for Tomb Raider loyalists. And there are challenge tombs all over the game. Basically, you can raid these tombs to get more salvage, and get a map which shows you where all the collectibles are. The collectibles are actually pretty interesting to get because you find relics from the people who visited this island to notebooks about their past, like journals. It actually made me want to collect some of this stuff, which is a great thing. And the challenge tombs, there are only 7. I wish there were a bit more, like 10. If there were 10 tombs, perfect. 7, not bad. I just wish there was more to do. And here's the last one. Fight to live. salvage resources, gain experience, and upgrade Lore's weapons to survive Yamattai's hostile inhabitants. Yes, that's how you do it. This is it, guys. This is by far one of my favorite games of 2013. And I can honestly say, if you are a fan of the Tomb Raider license, if you're a fan of Uncharted, get this game. I cannot recommend this game any higher, even if I wanted to. Get this game if you are a huge fan of Uncharted, a huge fan of the Tomb Raider license. If you're looking for something new, get this game. The only people that may not like this game is people who don't like puzzles or action-adventure. But this game is amazing. I can honestly say this is one of my favorite games of 2013. Let me lift the game back up. I am going to give Tomb Raider a 9 out of 10. Yes, this is right now the highest scored game I've given so far in 2013. Granted, this is one of my first reviews of 2013, but that's beside the point. This is my favorite game of 2013. I cannot wait to see what Crystal Dynamics does with the Tomb Raider license. I mean, there's so much potential. There's so much backstory that we find out in the game that leads us to actually finding out more. Like Lara Croft's father. I want to learn more about Lara Croft's father. I want to learn about more about Lara Croft's, history. I want to learn more about it. This game just makes me in the mood to learn more about Lara Croft. Crystal Dynamics, good job. Square Enix, good job. You did your job. You made a great game for $60. Way to go. So, that's been a Wolf's Word. Until next time, I'm Keen47, aka Wolfkeen, and this has been a Wolf's Word, where you get the word straight from the wolf's mouth. Take care.